Hello. Welcome all, and thank you so much for stopping by. Guys, we're going to start dipping our toes into Red Pill and Manosphere content today, and this is something I've been looking forward to for quite a long time because there is a lot to unpack here, and I believe that unfortunately on both sides they do tend to go too far in either direction, which is exactly what we are here to help combat. The first thing I want to say, just off the start of this, and we'll be reacting to much more Red Pill and Manosphere content in the future, is that one of the most painful things to watch is that a lot of the underlying arguments and the underlying feelings within the Red Pill and Manosphere, I'm just going to call it either Red Pill or Manosphere moving forward, are actually legitimate concerns. There are actual real world people behind these, and a lot of what the Red Pill content talks about does reflect a lot of my own personal experiences as a primary source. A lot of it is anecdotal, but that is part of what makes it so evocative, I suppose, because it is echoing a lot of sentiments that are out there, and these sentiments are based on very real concerns. And the problem is a lot of those concerns do get ignored, pushed aside, invalidated, and insert any other tactic that the left typically uses here. Red Pill content does tend to lean right of center. There is a little bit of a whiff of certain ideologies around there. It can vary greatly from creator to creator though. So the first creator I've brought forward today is actually another, I guess we'd call him a PNG tuber, but Taylor The Fiend. Now, I've been watching Taylor for several years now, I believe, and this video I was actually consuming in my own time, and I got about 3 minutes in when I saw something that made me think, okay, we're going to need to react to this video specifically, and you're going to see exactly what I mean, because, oh boy, it's a doozy. And this video does start off talking about a new study proves that men were right all along. Now, because so much of the Red Pill content and rhetoric is based off of emotional arguments and emotional sentiments, I'm interested to see this study. One did flash up briefly prior to that 3-minute mark, but I do wonder if that is the main study he's referring to. But I figured let's do a react to this live. And Taylor The Fiend, he's look, I do like his content. You do need to understand he leans very hard into the Red Pill ideology though, so you do need to be prepared for that. Some of the things that he says as an intellectual I definitely don't agree with, but I do also understand his audience, so just going into that, be prepared for that. But we'll break that down as we go. For the most part, he does mostly just echo a lot of very real sentiment and a lot of the, how do I put this? A lot of people in the Red Pill community feel the way that he talks about the way that they feel. So there is a very strong emphasis there. And of course he's going to lean into that to a certain extent. But before I go off the rails with this preamble, why don't we get started and I'll let you make some decisions for yourself. So let's go.
You have done something I don't like. Uh-oh. I am mad at you. Dang. Now you have done something I don't like. I don't like that you told me that. Uh-oh. Now I am mad at you. Dang.
And just a quick, because that's really concise, and good job to the original creator here for being able to bring that up, because I have known women like this. And here's where one of the big problems in the Red Pill community comes from. They typically complain a lot about a certain type of women. Now, the other issue is that particular type of woman is also very, very prevalent, or at least a lot of attitudes that this type of woman holds is very prevalent. And especially given that the majority of females tend to lean left, or at least they lean left in greater numbers, you do get that bit of friction between the sexes. And look, having been in a lot of these situations, I do understand the frustration here, but I just want you to remember when you're going through any Red Pill content, are they trying to get an emotional reaction from you? And who benefits from convincing you of their point? Because if you watch too much Red Pill content, you're just going to think that all women are bitches, they all suck, they're all out to get you, and you're not going to be interested in them, and who's going to benefit from you not being interested in your own women? I want you to think about that carefully.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor The Fiend back again, and today we are taking a look at science, proving that men were right the whole damn time.
That is what we are here for. I'd be very interested to see what he's bringing forward today.
I mean, who would have thought? Let's jump into it.
Well, we know that no one hates women more than other women, and in a recent study that will be shocking to absolutely no one, the results showed that male students show more tolerance for their political enemies than females show for their own allies. That's right. In other words, women are meaner to people on their own side than men are to people who sit on the opposite side of an issue. Look at this chart.
So this is the one I was referring to earlier that he showed, and I actually believe I have seen this elsewhere. So Taylor the Fiend is not the first time I have seen this particular graph. Now, I haven't gone and read the white paper, or I haven't read the study behind this, so I'm not willing to come forward on the accuracy of it, but there are other sources of information that I believe align with this. Now, I'd have to go and actually find them so I can cite my sources here, but if we think about this from a evolutionary perspective, and the red pill will talk about this in general, but I do believe they take it a little bit far. But women are social creatures. They have evolved to rely on social power more than brute strength, because men are just frankly larger and stronger as an overall. We are a dimorphic species, and if you ignore that, then you're ignoring reality. So women are far more concerned with social consequences and social issues than a lot of men are. And this ties into that overarching theme of, men just live their lives and they're able to be content. But I believe that is because most men are intrinsically motivated. Women are extrinsically motivated. So women draw motivation from sources external to themselves. Men draw motivations from within themselves. I want to be better. I want to be able to do this. I want to improve so I can then go on and insert whatever the motivation here is. Women, it's I want to be the center of attention. I want to have that social status. I want to look good, and I want everyone to pay attention to me, essentially. It's very, very high level overview, but that kind of reflects what we see here, in that I'm not surprised that there is such a divide. If we take this at face value, I'm not surprised there is such a divide. I'm a little surprised there's not so much overlap, because I have known extrinsically motivated men in my time, and I'm not going to call them annoying, but you definitely notice the difference if you interact with them, is all I'll say there.
What do you notice? Well, there is no overlap between the genders. Being a man is what makes you more tolerant.
Anecdotally, this also reflects my own personal experience, just me putting in as a primary source here, because I have friends in both genders, really. And something I have noticed is that, yes, men will tend to have a much wider variety of opinions within their own circle of friends, within their own circle of influence. Women, however, whilst they can have a varied number of friends, they all seem to be for lack of a better term, homogeny. And if you go against the group consensus, I have seen things turn very vicious very fast. Now, again, this is mostly with a certain type of women. I have known women who can field opposing opinions, but it's not the majority, and I'm trying to do a count in my head. And this is pure anecdotal first-hand experience here, so do also bear that in mind. But it does reflect an observation I have made out in the wild.
That's literally it.
That's because a lot of modern women want to be right more than they want to actually understand.
So that's probably why when we...
I believe that would be the case for a lot of people. I wouldn't put that down to a gender divide. I would put that down to a lack of maturity. And because women do tend to get shielded a lot more, they don't tend to develop that maturity in the same way that men do. Men have to go out, they have to provide, they have to do this, that, and the other. Women, not so much. I'm not going to say it's easy being a woman, but I will point out that it's hard to argue that it's not easier, especially in social situations.
Get home and complain about that bitch Becky at work, and the men in our lives don't seem to care. It's not that they don't care about us, they're just unbothered in their lane, moisturized, thriving. And in this...
So I'd also like to okay. This comes down to being more of a good partner, because a number of my previous partners would come home and I would learn the entire office cast of their work, because yes, they would come home and they would bitch at length about, I shouldn't say bitch, but they would complain at length about their day. And okay, do I know these people? Do I really care? No, I don't care about the people, but I care about my partner. And that's why I would listen and I would try and learn these things. And look, I think I did a pretty good job of it, because my partner would come home and say, you're not going to believe what, let's just say Becky, you're not going to believe what Becky would do today. And I'd go, oh, Becky, that's the one that, has a trunk foot or something like that. And last week she did X, Y, Z. And the way my partner's face would light up when I did that, when I recalled and I remembered what she was saying, that is what it's about. I do not give a shit that Becky had a trunk foot or whatever the hell she did last week, and I don't think most of you would either. But it's not about, the actual gossip itself. It's about being there for your partner in a way that they need you. That helped her de-stress, that helped her get things off her chest, that made things better for both of us. Like, there's just... I wouldn't put that down to a gender-specific thing, really. That's more just about being a good partner. I've bitched about people at work as well, mind you.
Specific study, men were 3.5 times more likely than women to be tolerant of someone they disagreed with. So basically, none of this is surprising.
We're able to function without endless drama, and modern women see that as a complete defect, I think.
I kind of feel like when you look at a man, you can already tell that they come from a mutated chromosome.
This woman's name escapes me right now, but she does amazing content. Her content does come across my dash quite a bit, and we'll definitely need to do some reacts to her at some point.
Should I say it?
The way that they physically look, you can already tell that they were a failed experiment at becoming a woman, and so they had no choice to become a man.
Okay, why not? There are some individuals out there that really should not be criticizing what others look like.
Whilst true, that is also a bit of an ad hominem argument. Now, I do understand that she primarily does short form content, and look, it's getting her point across, but attack the idea, not the person.
It takes a lot of emotional damage to be convinced that men are nothing but genetic failures.
I quit asking girls their body count a very long time ago, because if the answer's higher than 2 and you don't regret both dearly, I have no choice but to projectile vomit.
I quit
I mean, he stated his preference, and in exchange he got ridiculed. No wonder why men are walking away.
Okay, again, who benefits from men walking away from their own women? Because, who primarily consumes this content? Think about that. Think about the racial not racial divide, the racial makeup. Think about the age makeup. Like, you think about the demographics that are consuming this content, and who's going to benefit if that particular demographic walks away from their own women. I said that earlier in the video, but also that's not a good argument in the original content, because okay, I understand that she was about to go off on a whole big long rant. Yes, he stated an opinion. Yes, he has the right to that opinion. She also has the right to respond. I don't think she was going to respond in good faith. That is the problem. But by you cutting off that content, you're essentially blocking a dissenting voice. We don't really want to do that. Having said that, if they're not going to argue in good faith, then you don't really need to pay attention to them. But still, if they're not going to argue in good faith, you still need to argue in good faith, and you need to bring your points forward like that. So you're disproving their idea rather than just, implying they're stupid or any of these other ad hominem adjacent arguments.
What if he just leaves it? What if he doesn't care? What if he just leaves it like that? Now you have an ugly wall with a bunch of holes in it.
What kind of a message is that giving to her child? That kind of behavior makes a lasting impact.
Okay, so quick comment on the previous bit of content. Again, that just shows a level of immaturity and a lack of emotional regulation. I wouldn't put that down to gender specific. Yes, okay, women might have be overrepresented in that department, but again, a lot of the red pill content I find shows bad people and then blames it on gender rather than, showing actual gender issues. This, okay, you can read the caption already. And I have to be careful not to go off myself here, because now we are getting anti-science. And when we start to get anti-science, that is where I start to lose my shit a little bit. So this is about where I stopped. I genuinely want to know, how the fuck do you become a virgin again? Once your hymen is broken, it's broken. You can't regenerate your hymen with current technology. Once you have had penetrative sex, well, you know what? Technically, if you're assuming this is about a female and assuming you had a male partner, if he was particularly unendowed, I mean, there's a potential that he could not have broken the hymen. So I guess you could get into a very, very specific edge case there. But for the most part, once you've had penetrative sex and your hymen is broken, you're not a virgin. And you can't reverse that. You can't just decide you're a virgin again. So let's see where this goes.
Music.
We got white for purity. Oh my god! And red for...
This seems like some kind of social ritual more than anything else.
You're a hymen again.
Like, there's a thing called a husband stitch after a woman gives birth. I know of that, but you can't repair the hymen. Okay, sorry, I keep interrupting. This has got my mind going, because again, it's anti-science. There's a clear distinct definition here, and no, there is no such thing as a body count reset. You can't undo history. Like, what? I am genuinely trying to understand what could be the possible argument from the opposite side here. I am trying to engage in good faith, I promise. Like, maybe she had a bad ex and she's trying to use this as a ritual to move past that. Sure, maybe, but then that's not the correct rhetoric, because you're still not a virgin and you still have a body count. And if it wasn't just a single bad ex... Okay, sorry, you guys are watching my mind spinning here in real time. Let's just continue.
They think that they can wipe...
You know what? Here's a good point. Tell me what you think in the comments, because, okay, now we've moved on to other content. I don't know if we're going to get an answer there. Tell me what the hell you think it means to become a virgin again, a born-again virgin, because that's... Yeah, I think we're going to need to have a discussion about that.
Wipe away their bad decisions. That body count's there for life.
There we go.
Lucky on her next fella thinking that she's a virgin. And I'll stay woke in these streets.
You can't just magically decide to reset your body count. It doesn't actually work that way. And again, this is what many of these women do, guys, is they rack...
I will also jump in real quick. Body count is an extremely personal thing. And a lot of the red pill like to go after women for their body count. And look, as an intellectual, I am going to hold an opinion that pisses both sides off, as is typical. Just because it's not a political opinion doesn't mean it's not going to piss off both sides, right? So buckle in, guys, because the main thing is, it is a personal choice, and it is a personal... How would I put this? It is something that is innate to you as a person. Your choices, your opinions, your values. So having a high body count in and of itself is not something that I believe should be particularly shamed. However, I do believe it is important for your partner or your potential partner to know your body count, because they will then need to make a decision based off of that. And this is where we get into the main crux of the issue, because women don't want decisions made based off of their body count. It's essentially a way to try and avoid, air quote, consequences. But then you're not treating your partner as a human. You're not treating them as a person who has their own preferences and their wants and their own desires and their own opinions. You're just, this is a person I want to be a boyfriend rather than I want this person to be my boyfriend, right? There's a distinction there where it comes down to a lack of respect. Now, certain individuals are going to be fine with high body counts. Certain people are not going to be fine with high body counts, and certain people might be able to make it work for the right person. There's a lot more nuance there. There could be reasons for a high body count. There could just be, I just like to have fun. And look, if you're that type, I'm not here to shame you, but I do believe that information should be shared with anyone you are seriously considering pursuing a relationship with, because they need to be able to make an informed decision, and they need to be able to provide you informed consent. That is another very important thing. And when we're talking about informed consent, it's mostly talking about women making informed consent. Very few people talk about men making informed consent. And this is partly why I clash with the Red Pill a lot, because they are making excellent points. They are bringing up, the issues with high body count. There is an extra chance of disease. There is an extra issue with being able to form emotional attachments depending on the level of body count, yada, yada, yada. But all of that gets buried in this angry rhetoric. And I understand the anger. Again, a lot of these concerns are very, very real, and they do actually have a backing in logic. But it turns from a logical argument into an emotional argument, and that's where it starts to become an issue. And then things get red, and then it all gets flared up, and then people are just, instead of sitting down and talking about the actual issue and having that point counterpoint is what I'm trying to say, tempo of debate, they are just, you're a slut, you're a prick, it just evolves into name calling, which doesn't help anyone and just gets the genders mad at each other and pushes us further away from a resolution. And that is why I don't like this, or that is my issue with this kind of content. Now, there's wrong on both sides, because women can't go, oh, my body count doesn't matter, because it does. But men can't also go, well, you have a high body count, therefore you're a slut. And that's essentially my opinion as an intellectual. I did tell you it would piss off both sides.
Got a huge body count, for lack of a better word. Then they go out there when they're like 35 and they try and trick a man into taking her seriously after she's had all of her fun. It's
Okay, sorry for pausing it so much, but that is one of the main criticisms. If you are a 20-year-old woman, you're at the height of your desirability. You're going to have a lot of suitors. And look, any woman will be able to find a man. There's no question about it. It's just whether or not she'll be happy with the quality of that man. See home math, right? But when it starts to become vindictive and it does become manipulative, that's when you cross the line between, okay, you're no longer engaging in good faith. You're not looking for an equal partner. You're hitting the wall and you're essentially just looking for a sugar daddy. So you ignored all of these good men in the past and you went for men that mistreated you and damaged you. And so now you're, for lack of a better term, damaged goods, and you're expecting these good men to come back and pick you up. Now, I'm going very, very, very high level there, and this obviously does not apply to all women, but the specific subset that he's referring to, this is where that concern comes from. And unfortunately, that is very, very real. But guys, how do we deal with this? Well, you recognize that this is a flaw at an individual level rather than applying to all women. And then you look for those signs in the individual rather than in a gender. Anyway, let's continue.
Complete scam for men.
Every guy should start in jail and have to work his way out.
Absolutely.
I think
love
that's
that idea.
because it's like you need to earn your place out here.
You do.
Well, imagine you and your boys randomly load into a prison and your only objective is to make it out first. That sounds like the best competition ever.
And who exactly?
So much directed. I'm not going to pause it after every bit of content, but there's a saying in the Red Pill community. I'm probably going to butcher it. It goes along the lines of, women don't want to help you win the race. They just want to stand by the finish line and pick the winner, right? And that's the kind of sentiment that I get from there. Because what they're saying, oh, every man should start in prison, they're basically trying to filter out, they only want, air quote, high-quality men to come out. And that's a whole nother... I have to be careful, or this video is going to be 3 hours long. But it's okay. We're not going to tackle it all in one video. this is the reason I wanted to get started on the red pill content, guys, because there is a lot to break down and a lot to discuss here, and I do want to hear your opinions. I'm going to stop interrupting so much. Let's just let this video play a little bit.
We will be locking these men up in the prison and keeping them there, because it sure as hell isn't going to be women, let's be honest.
Somebody gonna match my freak. Somebody gonna match my freak.
Security reasons, baggage left unattended will be removed and destroyed.
Airports are enough of a pain without influencers making things even more annoying.
What is 34 plus 66?
34 plus 66? 99. 98.
What year was the US founded?
I know the answer to that.
Okay.
1982.
The United States was founded in 1982.
Sammy.
Who did the
Again, I just want you to think about who's going to benefit from convincing you of certain things. Obviously, this content is here to make these individual women look, let's be honest, it's to make them look stupid. And yes, there might be some truth to that for these particular women, but you need to be aware of your own biases and certain things that will try and reinforce those biases, because it can have an effect on your behavior and it can lead you down the wrong path. Are there women out there genuinely this stupid? Yes. There are also men out there genuinely this stupid. As asmongold would say, you know, not everyone's born to be a rocket scientist. Some people are just there to break big rocks into small rocks, right? But we also don't need to go too far down that path. It's just this particular show, podcast, whatever it is, comes up quite a lot in the red pill content. And I just want you to be conscious of if you're being baited. Again, is this trying to trigger an emotional response from me? If it is, then it's most likely not in your best interest.
US gained its independence from?
France?
We brought this up earlier, really earlier.
France, Europe? France, I think.
How many letters in the alphabet?
24.
What language do people in Idaho speak?
French.
These are the same kinds of women, by the way, who will say that men are stupid. I mean, let that sink in for a second.
That is also true. That is a larger societal issue. I wouldn't say that's specific to women. Again, I'm going to argue points like this a lot. One of my greatest fears is the Idiocracy. And if you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. But, I'm about to open a whole can of worms here. But let's, should I do that here? No, I don't think we will. Not today. But yeah, we're going to have to tackle that in future, because the idea that, the problem with democracy is that a doctor has the same amount of say as someone who doesn't know there's 26 letters in the alphabet. So this is why I believe in the meritocracy. But again, we're straying back into political paths, so let's stay out of that for now, and we'll circle back around to that in future videos.
You don't get to play the victim. You got on here and made a video and said that most men are ugly. And now that people are attacking your looks, you want to play the victim.
And I thank God that I am mentally, emotionally, spiritually strong enough to not be influenced to do something like that by someone like you. But if I was, I'd put your name in the letter so that you would get a visit from the police after I was gone.
If you go on the internet and you say that most men are ugly, then I think it's fairly obvious that you are going to get pushback. I mean, that is literally how the internet works.
Did the thought not cross your mind that prior to making that video...
Okay, no, we all know that thought came across her mind. This is bait. Let's move on.
...of saying most men are ugly, that people would come after your looks. So you would therefore...
You know what? I say that, depending on her level of intelligence, she genuinely might not have considered that. But either or, this is focusing on a specific individual. or take this as this is a flaw with this individual, not a flaw with the gender.
Be prepared to be attacked in your comment section and have videos made about you.
Most men are deeply unattractive because of Mother Nature and something called the Great Scam. The Great Scam was the day that the male of the species convinced the female of the species that it no longer needed to prove itself worthy in order to reproduce and have babies, but the fact that the men are ugly says otherwise.
There are some messages, regardless of whether it's right or wrong, that some people should not be the messenger for. And I think you should have sat this one out.
She expected a pass to insult men without getting insulted in return. That's never been a thing at all, especially on the internet.
Invisible costs that women pay to exist that men don't even think about. All right, well, let's take a look. Beauty expectations, waxing.
Okay, I actually did a video on this earlier, and I believe it was from HannahSpier about beauty standards and how it is dramatically worse for men than women. So if you want a full breakdown on that, because unlike a lot of the people in these TikToks, HannahSpier is actually a practicing doctor. She has her doctorate. I believe she's an MD, and she gives a phenomenal breakdown on this. And reacting to that and she also commented on the video. She watched that, so that was great. So if you want to get an actual proper opinion on this, go check out either my reaction to her or just even the original video. Because yes, beauty standards are actually far harsher on men than they are on women. So let's see what other things she's talking about here.
Brows, hair, laser. Yeah, you don't need this to exist, actually. You could just look natural. The pink tax, same product, same ingredients, higher price. Well, then just buy the male product if you...
Another counterpoint here. Why do men's pants all have pockets? Because men will not buy pants without pockets. Now, again, I'm generalizing to a gender here, but something I've noticed, especially when going shopping with a lot of female friends and whatnot, is their priorities are completely different in a lot of cases. When I look at clothing, I look at ruggedability, survivability, price, and I guess you would call features, things like pockets, chain loops, that type of. And when I say chain loops, I don't mean like goth chains. I mean actual like for equipment and things like that to hang things off of. And if it doesn't have that, I just won't buy it. I don't care how good it looks. What is its practical application here? And women don't seem to consider that, or a large portion of women don't really seem to consider that at all. I am sure there are exceptions. God, I'm getting a list there today. Exceptions. My apologies. But for the most part, like, I have seen lots of women complain that they can't get, just a regular shirt or something to that effect. It's always this sort of low-hanging, weird, strip of fabric with no back and spaghetti straps, which look horrible anyway. And I'm like, well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Companies do not care about whatever, social... They're not trying to set any standard here. They will sell you what you will buy. So if you just vote with your wallet, voting with your wallet is one of the greatest powers that we have in our society currently, which is also why I say to look out for the left, because they're going to try and remove that at some point. Don't worry, we won't get into that today. But if you say, I will not buy anything without pockets, and then you never buy anything without pockets, then they will start making clothes that have pockets. And that really is all there is to it. So this whole idea of a pink tax, I mean, yes, but then if you refuse to buy it because of the pink tax, then we are in a capitalistic society. That business will fail. So you kind of have to reinforce and anyway, I'm getting off topic here, but vote with your wallet, exercise some level of discipline, only buy the things you actually want. And if you disagree with something so strongly, then simply boycott. And when I say boycott, you don't need to go marching out in the street and making a big, hullabaloo about it. Just make a personal choice not to buy it, and the companies will follow, because they will follow wherever the money is. And if you're only putting your money where there's pockets, then they will come to you with pockets.
Recognize this. At this point, if you still buy female products, that's a skill issue. The price of periods, pads.
I would agree with that one, at least 90%, because men do also have their own costs that you don't have to incur. But, hard to argue that men don't have periods.
Tampons, painkillers. Yeah, these require...
I think I just heard every left-leaning individual scream at that last statement.
raw materials. So here are all the raw materials and tampons alone. If you can manage to start a company, source the raw materials, package the products, and give it to women for free, be our guest. Workplace bias, dress professionally. Yeah, men have to dress professionally too, sweetheart.
Men have their own costs as well. We just don't feel the need to complain about it like these people do.
You wanted equal treatment, you get equal treatment, and then you cry discrimination. The cost of safety, taxis instead of walking. Oh yeah, no, because men don't pay for safety. It's not like men are experiencing assault and violence at a higher rate than women. Oh, wait, yeah, they are. The motherhood penalty, career pauses, slower growth, smaller pensions. Well, you all did this to yourselves. Women were happier under the patriarchy.
I'm not going to react to every single point here because we'll be here all day, but we're starting to drift.
Statistically, and then feminists had the bright idea to fight for the right to work alongside men in the workforce. The price of aging. Oh yeah, because men don't age, just women out here aging. Anti-aging marketed to us before we even... Same thing to men. It's the same stuff. It's just...
I distinctly remember, especially in my teenage years, there was a lot of this sort of... And this is back before looks maxing was a thing. This is back in the age of metrosexuals. But yeah, there was definitely marketing targeted towards men and male teenagers and young boys about like, it was all these shower gels and these hydrating gels and this is good for your skin and, you know, this is good for shaving your pubes. And there was a lot of stuff there, but it just doesn't take because again, men will vote with their wallets. What is the practical application of, and look, I do remember seeing a ad that at least attempted to make the argument, and it was like, you know, if you have a large tree surrounded by small trees, you remove the small tree and the large tree, you know, looks larger. The implication there being, if you don't have any pubes, your penis will look larger. Which, look, okay, fair enough. That is a logical argument. Still didn't buy into it, but you know what? I'm not going to go into my own personal grooming habits. I've gone both ways on that, but and where I am now is none of your business. But suffice it to say, we were definitely targeted, and it just didn't work because we just didn't care. And so if you don't care about it, they're not going to be able to sell you on it, therefore they'll stop marketing you on it. It's sort of this self-perpetuating cycle, unless we do get into the psychology of marketing, and there's a whole rabbit hole we can go down there. But see what I was saying before about clothes. Like, I like ripstop nylon. Ripstop nylon is an amazing material. You can fall down, you know, a series of boulders. You can go bouldering in ripstop nylon and you can scrape it against the harshest, like sandstone, you know, cracked boulder bullshit that would tear your skin up, and it just shrugs that off. You can sew directly through ripstop nylon. Like, I have genuinely sewn extra clips onto my shoulders and various other attachment points so I can hang things off and get the extra, like, there's a lot of things. And when you want to remove those, you can literally just get a thread popper, pop all of the threads for the nylon webbing that you attach to it, and it's like nothing ever happened. But you try and do that to cotton or any of these other like sheer fabrics that a lot of women tend to wear, and it's like it falls apart. Like, you could practically throw a meteor at ripstop nylon and it'll come back in one piece. I have done I've done fitness challenges and obstacle courses. One of my favorite ones was it was a 10-kilometer obstacle course race, like 10 kilometers of wall climbing and cliff climbing, and there was like mud diving. There was so much in that obstacle course, and I wore my ripstop nylon outfit to that. I came back head to toe mud, and this isn't your typical like polite mud either. This is the deep chlorine, like half made of shit, because it was in like a farmer's field that we all were running through. It was really intense. It was clay, and I laid that down on the ground outside. I washed it with my pressure washer. Right, literally, I'm not making this up. Wash it with my pressure washer. Then I put it in the washing machine on the heavy duty cycle, and it came out perfectly fine. No rips, no loose threads, and like I still have that outfit to this day. Can you imagine trying to pressure wash? Sorry, tripping over myself today. But can you imagine trying to pressure wash some of the fabrics that women wear? And it's like, okay, there's different purposes. I understand because I do have women in my audience, about 10%, and I do understand that, you know, you might not like the style of ripstop nylon, and that is perfectly fine. But it comes back to the argument of just vote with your wallet. If they're not making you what you want, then don't buy it, and they will start making you what you want. They'll start researching, they'll start doing their market research, they'll start doing competitor analysis, all of these other things you need to do to be a successful business. Anyway, now I'm starting to ramble. I just said I wasn't going to respond to every point, so let's just continue.
That we're smart enough to not believe that some cream is going to stop us from aging. That is just so tough.
Ignorance, I don't think, is an argument, but women like this will always insist that their feelings count as...
I'll also just quickly jump in. That picture that keeps showing up and they keep cutting away from, he is another creator. I do forget his name. I will try and find and link him, but we will be reacting to him in future because he's also a great creator. When I say great creator, yeah, look, he's a great creator, very much in the vein of Taylor The Fiend, very, very red pill centric. But, you know, I just wanted to bring that up because he seems to be having a lot of his own commentary cut off, so I just thought I'd mention that.
Facts, no matter what the situation is.
Like, what can I do to help? Is there a GoFundMe? The number one cause of death in men under the age of 50 is guys deciding to take their own life. That's not cancer.
If y'all can see, I want y'all to look at the bottom comment. It says, yes, male loneliness is a real problem, but why is it only brought up when talking about women? Excuse me?
It's crazy how even when it's a problem to do with men's mental health, you have these modern women who just need to make it about them. Anything that isn't being talked about, that isn't, you know, to do with them or victimizing them in any way, it always has to be kind of, you know, directed back to making them a victim.
This video was a man stitching a video of a woman talking about the male loneliness epidemic. For a long time, people said the male loneliness epidemic is only brought up when countering a woman's point. I want one of you people to show me an example of that. Because if I look up male loneliness epidemic right now, do you know what I'm going to see? A bunch of women talking about the male loneliness epidemic, or men pandering, or men being like, what even is that? Like, genuinely, in the search bar, look up male loneliness epidemic. I want you to tell me how long it takes you to scroll until you find a man complaining about it. There are women who get on here, some not all, who use it as a point just to dunk on men for anything.
Some women will even use this epidemic, quote unquote, to even celebrate men's pain. It's messed up.
Oh, a man doesn't want to open the car door. Oh, now they wonder why there's a male loneliness epidemic. A man makes a mean comment. Oh, and you wonder why there's a male loneliness epidemic. It's literally them bringing it up as if it was being brought up in the first place. This is the craziest gaslight job that I've ever seen. Every video I've seen of a woman talking about the male loneliness epidemic was unprovoked. I've never seen this scenario that people keep making up where it's a woman complaining about something and then men are in the comments being like, oh, well, what about the male loneliness epidemic? Or a man stitches it, oh, what about the male loneliness epidemic? I've never seen that. Please.
You never see it because it doesn't really exist except in the minds of modern women. That's why.
Please show me proof. And when I tell you, every time this topic comes up, I tell you guys, hey, tag me in something. Hey, show me, just show me. And you never can, ever. But we keep going with this false narrative. The craziest part about that to me is that you can't even cherry pick anything. Because I'm like, I'm sure every type of interaction has happened on the internet at least once. But the fact that it's so hard for people to find a man complaining about the male loneliness epidemic in response to a woman complaining about a woman's issue, it's so hard to the point that when I have made multiple videos asking for people to tag me, asking for people to show screenshots, and they can't even do it once, not one person who watches this video, and then people will be like,
this is an excellent point.
Oh, but like, you know, different algorithms. Then if it's in your algorithm, show me. I've had thousands of people see my video. There's no way we're all on just the same algorithm where just nobody's saying that, but it's somehow a prevalent issue. Like, show me.
You can't find proof because it's just another slogan used by modern women, nothing more.
You don't need to look at this yet until you look at the gift first. You look at the gift first.
I thought it was a car, you know.
Look at the gift first and then this makes sense. Oh, okay. This makes sense after you look at the gift.
This is going to be a switch around, isn't it?
Please
Gift
hand
for
over
her.
here. It's a delicate item.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I see.
You put the gift on the table. That's the gift.
What is it?
It's a leaf. It's a golden leaf. It represents value and worth, wisdom and enlightenment, prosperity, and
okay,
abundance.
fair enough. I was wrong.
I think we covered this clip earlier. I mean, she bought him a leaf for his birthday, but imagine if he did the same thing for her. Honestly, he would probably be shamed for it.
So in this new year for us, we want all those things. So I bought you a Gucci golden leaf.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
You don't seem too excited about it.
It's not that big.
okay, this is we don't need to, okay. This is down to two individuals. Yes, Taylor makes a good point in that it probably wouldn't go down so well if the situation was reversed. But having said that, I do believe that also comes down to the individuals, because one of the best. Okay, guys, I am a sentimental piece of shit. Okay, and you can clip me saying that if you really want, because some of the best presents I have ever received weren't even practical. Like I love to receive practical gifts, but some of the best gifts I've ever seen have been things like I'm gonna one of my previous partners got our names engraved on like a pebble, and then that pebble was added to like a beach shore. I'm remembering a few years ago, but the whole point was, this is a permanent engravement. It was deeply engraved. It's going to be put on this beach, and it should last, hundreds and hundreds of years, so on and so forth. And it was the type of granite that it was carved from, and all this type of stuff. Now, I know that didn't cost very much, and I know that practically that serves no purpose. But it is the sentiment of it, right? The fact that this person, loved me so much that they wanted to engrave our names together, and there's a few other details I'm not going to go into, but that is one of the best gifts I have ever received, because it is the sentimentality behind that. And okay, this golden leaf thing hasn't landed from the looks of it, from what we're looking at the video here, but I mean, I gotta be honest, I don't know about the golden leaf specifically, because I don't understand any sentimental value attached to that. But the point I'm getting at is I could not give a shit how much a gift costs. It's all about the thought behind it. And I don't want to go into it's the thought that counts, because that's usually used in a negative way. But to me, yes, it is about showing that affection and showing that how much you mean. Like that is what I'm about. But that is what I'm about at an individual level. And my partners that I have chosen and been with have been similar in that regard. I have also had one or two that are very materialistic, but those relationships ended for very valid reasons. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is this video seems to be trying to mock this individual for buying a golden leaf, with a further implication that if he had bought her a golden leaf, she would have lost her shit. And there might be some truth to that, but I disagree with the premise overall, because this could have been a very sentimental gift. And if I received a golden leaf and there was some sentimentality attached to it, I would absolutely love that. But anyway, that's me inserting myself there as an individual. I did just want to dispute that a little bit.
When you look at that receipt and see how much I'm gonna spend for that, you could appreciate that Gucci golden leaf. You have to put it back in because it's hard, like, for it not to get, like, it's definitely delicate.
Okay.
So now you can open this so you can appreciate your golden leaf a little more.
I don't know what this woman was expecting, for him to cry and thank her for the present of a gold leaf.
Sorry, I also just noticed the Gucci. This might be another status thing, because men don't really give a shit about social status. Like, if Gucci, it's probably going to be overpriced. Now, again, I don't know how much this costs, so there's only so much data that I can go off. But part of the point of having a Gucci is to be seen owning a Gucci thing, because it is a fashion brand. A Gucci serves no practical purpose over anything else that would be far cheaper. It's all about that social status. So if what she's trying to gift him is a boost to social status, I'm not surprised that it didn't go over well, because as a general rule, men don't care so much about that. Definitely not as much as a particular type of women. And if there was no sentimentality attached to it and it was just about that social status, then okay, I can start to see where this has fallen apart.
I'm not really sure I understand here.
Okay.
Not that one. You do the next one. It's another one in there. You can look at this one next. That's why the car didn't have no money in it, because I spent $2,000 on this golden leaf right here. The frame didn't come in yet.
Okay.
There are so many more.
Okay, again, I'm just going to focus on the fact that this was an individual choice. If a partner of mine bought me a gift as impractical as a golden leaf with a cost as high as $2,000 with zero sentimentality attached, yes, I would very likely not enjoy that gift. Now, I would navigate that very carefully because it's not just about me at that point, it's about her feelings as well. So it's sort of as if I would throw that back into her face. But if she was gifting me that simply the real gift is that social status of being able to post on Instagram and go, look at what my partner got me. It's this golden leaf. It's from Gucci. It costs $2,000. Then I will have done a very poor job of communicating to my partner what my values are, and I would question whether our values align, and that leads into a whole nother discussion. So, yeah, okay, I can see the issue.
More meaningful presents that she could have got him that would have costed a fraction of the price. You know, a lot of these women think that price is everything, and that's what makes a good gift, but it couldn't be further from the truth.
No, I just want to know that you love me and you value me and you see me. I want to be the one that you choose. That is all that I want, and I believe that is a sentiment that a lot of men, and especially in the red pill community, despite all the anger underneath it all, that is really what they're... And look, if you are a woman watching this, that is essentially what the vast majority of men want. They don't need price, they don't need social status, they don't need, even adventures or all this type of stuff. They just want to know that they are important to you. That is what they want. And I believe that is what a lot of people want, gender regardless.
Thank you.
You don't care?
I'm with you, Greg.
I thought you was gonna say something about me spending that much money on a golden leaf.
You might want to stop recording so you can put that in.
He's trying so hard.
Thank you. You want him in the middle? No, you okay. Okay. I was gonna say I'm trying to keep I just want your reaction. I'm not getting. You don't care?
Greg, can you put the phone down?
Mediocre at absolutely everything, but at least I have the self-awareness to not enter myself into a competition that I am ill-equipped for and am going to end up being 14th. Am I off?
Yeah, you're off. You're big time off.
I got to stop pausing. Sorry, guys. I think this is going to be a problem all throughout Red Pill content. But then again, Taylor The Fiend does do a variety of clips, so that's kind of par for the course. But okay, let's refer back to that 10-kilometer obstacle course. I mean, there were thousands of people in that, and it wasn't about position because you got set off in groups. The idea was to complete the course within it was about time more than anything else. Than half the time was spent waiting because they only had so much capacity to go through. Yeah, I don't need to go into details, but if we look at where I finished, I mean, a lot of people did not even finish. A lot of people, there was a checkpoint at the 5K mark where you could tap out. A lot of people, but I completed the entire course. I did all 10 kilometers. I did every single obstacle on that course, and my air quote finishing position would have been something like out of 5,000 or 6,000 people, it would have been, I think it was something like 250-ish, 300-ish, something like that. I definitely was not in the top upper echelons of that. But I mean, are you saying that because I couldn't have gotten into the top 10 or top 50, I shouldn't have even tried? That's a very... Again, this is down to an individual rather than a gender. But I do want to... Because you need to challenge yourself. And even though I didn't come first place, I am still very happy with my performance. I had a great time. I went with a group of friends. We were supporting each other the whole way. And I learned some things about myself. I'd never been so exhausted in my life. Your body goes so still when you have pushed yourself past the point of exhaustion. Because this was about a 5-hour run across the 10 kilometers and all of the obstacles. Which, okay, that's not a great running speed. Well, yeah, but the point was more the obstacles. You run from obstacle to obstacle. And then the obstacles can take a while because there's a few lines there. But anyway, like, I did not know my body could be so still because I'd never pushed myself to that extreme before. And was it Plato? It was one of the Greek philosophers, and I'm going to misquote him here tragically, and for that I do apologize. But the quote was along the lines of, it is a tragedy for a man to live his life not knowing the strength and beauty his body is capable of. And so that's why I encourage, everyone, but especially men, to really push themselves and try that. And if I had have tapped out at the 5K mark, that would have been perfectly acceptable. If I had have reached an obstacle and gone, this is too much, I can't do it because, oh my God, I was exhausted. But it is perfectly acceptable to tap out. So this individual is just spouting what I would consider very toxic opinion. I would not attribute that to their gender. I would attribute that to this just being a toxic personality.
She says in her video that she's dating a guy, talking to a guy, whatever, and he bragged, kind of was telling her about himself and said that he went to the Olympic trials. She asked what place he got. He said 14th at the Olympic trials. And she's like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Why would you tell people that?
It is insane how she fancies herself an expert when she just said she's extremely mediocre. Again, with the cognitive dissonance, saying things that just make no sense and contradict each other within the...
I'm going to make a comment. I believe the reason she might have said that, if we assume it's not rage bait, is that because she is focused on the social status of the achievement, that might be why she is having this cognitive dissonance here. Because let's try and phrase this another way. I did a 10-kilometer obstacle course. I came 250th. That doesn't sound great if you try and think of that from a social standing perspective, right? Like, I do want you to try and go outside your own zones here as well, guys. Get outside of your own filter. If you were focused specifically on the social standing of the achievement, then it makes sense that you would value coming first, maybe second, maybe even third at a stretch. And then you can possibly qualify it by saying, I came third out of, 10,000, 20, like whatever here. But that might be where she's having the issue, because it doesn't sound impressive that I came 250-ish of, this air quote race. But have you done a 10-kilometer obstacle course? I'm still very chuffed, and I'm still very proud of my achievement. And this isn't taken away from that pride at all. But this is just me trying to understand, to give you the tools to understand as well.
The same, 10 seconds.
And she says it gave her like the biggest ick. That's embarrassing for you.
See, this is useful though, because that raises a red flag for you. If a woman holds this attitude, this is a woman who has a particular set of values and a particular toxicity to her, and that is a warning sign to you. So it kind of does still serve a purpose.
It would take forever for me to make a spreadsheet based on every event at every Olympic trial event, but I just did some quick search. This is the men's 100 meters. First place finisher, 9.92. 14th place finisher, 10.15. That's nothing. It's not even a quarter of a second. Let's look at another one. This is the men's 400 meters. First place, 44.42. 14th place, 45.36. Less than 1 second. This is the perfect example of, first of all, do a little research. Second of all, how out of touch and ignorant some people are.
She is completely clueless. Getting into the Olympic trials themselves is quite an accomplishment.
2025. Why can't my car touch something? Why is it so bad that when my car taps something, the side caves in? What are we doing? What are we doing? Why aren't our best and brightest brains being put toward fixing that issue? You're telling me every time I tap another car in a parking lot, every time I back up into a wall or a pole or something of that nature, my entire car caves in and breaks.
They are designed that way for a reason, but doing basic research is not her strong suit, it seems.
Why aren't they stronger? Why aren't they stronger? Why can't...
This is going to touch onto a pet peeve of mine, but you know, bumpers are meant to be bumpers. They are meant to shrug off minor dings. Now, I don't crash my car. I think I've only done that once in my entire driving. Actually, yeah, I think I have only ever had one incident. No, I didn't think that was literal. Okay, anyway, getting off the point. But bumpers are meant to be bumpers. They are meant to shrug off small things. So they're meant to be like a hard plastic or that type of thing. The fact that it's now just built into the bodywork is a personal pet peeve of mine. I understand what this video is getting at. I understand what she's saying as well. And yeah, I don't fully agree with it. But, you know, there does need to be some level of, hey, this is something that is integral to our daily lives. It needs to have an extra amount of durability. I would not go so far as what she's saying. I just want my bumpers to be actual bumpers rather than just thin fiberglass shells. But yeah, definitely not not on the same level as what she's saying.
They touch things. Is this a stupid question? Like, so many things are so durable. Why can't cars be durable? Yes, this is coming from a girl who spent thousands of dollars into repairing her car after hitting things. Why don't they make cars out of the same stuff they make, like, planes out of? I don't know what planes are made out of, but I'm sure they're strong. I'm sure rocks in the sky are like, there's not rocks in the sky, but I'm sure things hit the planes. No, I'm sounding really stupid right now. I'm really smart, I swear.
It's the definition of not taking accountability. I'll tell you what, Gail. Why don't you just get better at driving? Then you wouldn't have all them problems, would you? Women shouldn't drive anyway. Stay woke in the streets, leh.
If she was a better driver, this problem that she's complaining about wouldn't actually be an issue here.
Why isn't paternity fraud illegal?
Oh, do not get me started. Do not get me started. I am not okay. I think we might have found a trigger point here. Let's not get into this. I could make an entire multi-hour long video on fraternity fraud, and there is no reason not to get paternity testing. There is no reason not to. Oh, but that is a whole nother argument. This video is long enough. We will come back to that, trust me.
It's estimated 6% of men are fathering children that are not theirs.
There should be consequences for that.
But there aren't.
Okay.
And that's my point, is you guys don't care about equality. You want freedom at the expense of men.
Okay, sure. Next.
Do you think that men should have the right to opt out of fatherhood, since women have the right to opt out of motherhood?
No.
The only rules women like this will follow are rules for thee but not for me. That's pretty much about it.
What's your plan when men stop doing the dirty and dangerous jobs that keep society running?
Can you give me an example of which jobs you're referring to?
Logging, plumbing, crab fishing, oil rig.
What is your plan for when the 80% of women who work in the healthcare industry no longer want to do it? What's your plan?
I have a plan.
Yeah, what's your plan?
Let's give the jobs to the men. They'll do it better.
It's interesting how she used emotional garbage to get out of answering a valid question. This is usually the case, right? This is the default strategy that these women employ. If they can't answer the question, or if answering the question will make them look bad, they just, list off some emotional garbage to try and change the foundation of what's being discussed.
Idea that the woman should take 100% of the costs on herself without any help from her husband or ex-husband is ridiculous. How is that fair?
Well, how is it fair that he doesn't get 50-50 custody? Are you guys equal or not?
Yes, equality means that you're both responsible for raising the children, and that includes the costs of raising the children.
So you should have equality, but not at the expense of men. 50-50 custody, no child support, no alimony. That's equality. You don't.
Alimony makes sense if the woman was a stay-at-home mother and doesn't have a source of income. How else would she take care of the kids following a divorce?
By getting a job just like the men.
Getting a job is the most simple solution to the problem, but it's also the most offensive, hilariously enough.
My heart is absolutely breaking for these new parents, and I need to talk about it. 50 years ago, every parent was so worried about their daughters finding good men to marry. And now it's 2026, and our daughters are the evil ones. I have no kids, and I'm not even anywhere close to that, but I already am so anxious about what dating life is going to look like for my future son. These women out here are atrocious.
the Overton window would have likely shifted by then, so I do genuinely appreciate the concern, but I also don't want you to stress about that and have that hinder your future decisions. Have those babies. Don't worry too much about it. It is definitely something to keep an eye on. But look how much things have changed in just the past 2 decades, in the past 20 years. You're going to be, we're looking at about another 20 years in future. Things will look totally different. Again, can't tell you what direction it will go in, but things will be, I can't promise they'll be better, but I can promise they will be different in some way. So don't stress too much about it now.
Precious. In my personal opinion, I know no women that aren't lying to men or saying awful things about men or just like honestly out here not being respectful to their future husbands.
See, I do know women like that, though, so I will counterpoint that. I'm sorry that if we take this at face value and assume this is genuine, then that is unfortunate, and I'm sorry that you are going through that. But I do know women like that. So, again, put this down to the individual, not a gender.
I don't go to bars, I don't go to clubs, because I feel like that's not my thing. But it's every single woman I talk to is like, every Friday night I go out, every Saturday night I go out. That's where I need to be, is in the club. And it's like we're losing the plot. Like, what are you gonna do when it's time to settle down and find a husband? They're not gonna want you.
When that happens, what they'll do is they will just go on the internet and blame men for their problems, which is usually the case anyway. Make sure you click on one of the videos on screen now to watch more if you liked today's video. Don't forget to take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next.
Excellent. There we go. So, guys, that was Taylor The Fiend. I have been watching him for quite some time. He actually didn't have too many out there takes on this particular video. Sometimes he does get a little bit more extreme. So good on him, I suppose, for this particular video. But yes, Red Pill and Manosphere content. I hope that gave you a good introduction if you weren't familiar with it yet, guys. I hope you enjoyed my takes as well. There is a lot to break down there, and Red Pill is definitely not something that's like, it's going to be an ongoing series because there is so much. Again, I do want to extract the very real valid concerns out of that and break those down logically, get rid of a lot of that emotion, because there are valid points from both sides, and you have to acknowledge that you can't just take one side over the other. But having said that, there are definitely, both sides need to listen, not just one side listening to both sides. Anyway, guys, that is going to be a bit of a longer video. Let's wrap it up there. I do want to hear what you think about that in the comments, because there were quite a few things that we could have commented on and quite a few thoughts to get across there. So with that, guys, I'm going to give you back the rest of your day. Don't forget to go like and subscribe to Taylor The Fiend if you liked his content. Don't forget to like and subscribe here as well. And do let me know if there were any final thoughts you wanted to share. Thank you so much, guys, and enjoy the rest of your day.